În arhitectură și construcții există așa numitul concept de reutilizare adaptivă, care se referă la procesul de a atribui unei clădiri sau structuri neutilizate o nouă destinație. Într-o lume în care promovarea sustenabilității a devenit esențială pentru supraviețuirea ei, de ce să demolezi și să reconstruiești de la zero când poți să reutilizezi resursele existente? Berlin este unul dintre orașele exemplu pentru modul în care acest concept a fost aplicat în zonele industriale și nu numai.
District Berlin is it's actually a Central European developer who's doing the project, and he or the group took this is the old called the old Schlachthof. This is the old slaughterhouse area of Berlin. So this was the centralized meat production for the city for many years in the 1800s. We're talking about an area that's probably about in total 300,000 square meters, and this is about 50,000 square meters that's behind us. And there are 3 historical halls, and then we have or they decided to build the new building, which is office space. There are 2 others kind of examples I can give you. There's one, a very famous area called the Tacheles. The Tacheles in Berlin was kind of I would say the party area. It was there where all the artists were, all the musicians, very large area. That's in the center of Berlin, very close to the Friedrichstadtpalast. And now that is it's a beautiful development. They're doing housing, residential, office, also restaurants and those types of things. And the others, the ice fabric. It was an ice factory on the banks of the Spree River, and what they're doing there is similar, residential, office, cultural hub.
În secolele al XIX-lea și al XX-lea, Berlinul era un oraș industrial definit de fabrici, uzine electrice și depozite, dar pe măsură ce activitatea industrială a început să scadă și mai ales după căderea Zidului Berlinului în 1989, multe structuri, în special cele din partea de est a orașului, au rămas vacante.
For historically protected buildings, what Berlin has done is, if it's older than 1925, for 10 years, you can write off so every year 9% of your costs. That includes renovation costs, that includes even if a real estate broker brought you the property, that includes the marketing. If you need to market to get either a commercial tenant or residential tenants, all of that is included in this 9% every year that you can write off. So there are huge tax savings for a real estate developer to realize these projects. There's an authority in Germany, or especially Berlin, the Historical Protection Authority. So not only do they give you these benefits, they also have quite a big team or a big group of people who make sure you're following the rules.
Datorită acestei abordări în Berlin, există așa numitele zone creative sau hub-uri culturale. În clădirile reutilizate, tinerii artiști au șansa de a-și expune lucrările sau de a concerta, iar scena gastronomică se învârte adesea în jurul lor.
I've lived in Berlin since 2006. And I can tell you the east side was where you went for if you didn't have so much money to have a good time. And now that has changed because tech money came to the east side of Berlin. So the tech hubs is more in the east. So you've seen the faster development. And also when these tech companies have become successful, you started to see these tech millionaires reinvested into the east side as well.
Reutilizarea adaptivă nu se referă doar la conservarea culturii și a istoriei. Demolarea clădirilor vechi și ridicarea altora noi în locul lor are ca rezultat risipa de materiale și energie, în timp ce reutilizarea clădirilor vechi, deși uneori este o întreprindere mai costisitoare, este o alegere mult mai durabilă atât pentru locuitorii orașului cât și pentru dezvoltatori.
On the basic side, Berlin is one of the greenest capitals in most of Europe. Yeah, I would say probably the world, but for sure Europe. So that's one thing, and in that sense, I think that's a German mentality. They really have this connection to nature. What Berlin is doing that I think is very new, that no one really knows yet. There's a group that I'm working with, 2 Germans. One is based in London, the other is based in Munich, and they've actually they're consulting now with the mayor of Berlin. For Berlin wants to define what is ESG, which is connected to sustainability and all of exactly. And they don't want the developers to decide what is sustainable, because being a developer myself, we tend to connect sustainability about money. Exactly. Whereas if the city makes those designations, then you know it's about improving the lives of the citizens. And that's something very new. There are very few cities in the world where they're trying to take the narrative and create the story themselves and force the developers to follow their guidelines. And that's something that I would put Berlin in one of the leading positions in the world in that sense.
Printr-o restaurare și transformare inteligentă, zonele industriale de patrimoniu pot dobândi întrebuințări noi, mixte sau extinse. În consecință, valoarea lor socială, ecologică și economică crește, iar importanța lor culturală sau istorică este amplificată.
This building is very near and dear to my heart because I actually live in this building, and it's the former leather factory for the slaughterhouse area. And I would say 2007 or 8 is when it was purchased by private individual, and then it was repurposed into apartments, divided, and then sold to private parties. So this area really is completely connected. So all of these factories are all connected in the same industry, and I would say 95% of them have been saved and are now being used for, except for the district concept, being used for residential. And I say 95% because there were 5% of the buildings that just could not be saved because they were old.
Too damaged.
Yeah, too damaged, yes.
Chiar dacă teoretic este vorba despre un imobil în care a fost o tăbăcărie, este de patrimoniu, astfel locatarii nu au voie să modifice în niciun fel unitatea.
The building is also late 1800s, and I would say it's about 5 stories high, the building. 4 stories down are just repurposed. It's not only the facade, it's everything inside is also, you see the old brick, you see the columns, the steel columns. The top level, the 5th levels are kind of the new build to add. That was their bonus for saving the building. The developer was allowed to add one more level. So it's still counted as this. I live in the top level, and we still cannot change anything. We cannot put anything on the outside walls. It's still considered historical, even though that extra layer was built in 2008, for example.
Realizarea adaptivă este o strategie care își propune să conserve elementele valoroase și, în același timp, să adapteze situl pentru noi întrebuințări. Se realizează astfel o îmbinare a noilor funcțiuni cu valorile de patrimoniu într-un dialog activ și plin de semnificații.